welcome back to my channel. So firstly, I want to apologize for today's video being late. It's been a crazy hectic week and I'm super behind. So for that, I apologize. What we're going to do today is Mother's Day is coming up here in the United States in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to show you two different ways using one mold that we can make something for mom. So the first method that I'm going to use is I'm using J. Diction's Resincrete, and we're going to use this really cute mold that I got that's a heart shape with some flowers, and it's got mom and a child on it, and I just think that it's super cute and just absolutely perfect for this. So I just dumped in, and I don't have a whole lot of this powder left. This is actually the last little bit that I have, and it's a 10-to-3 ratio, so, and it's by weight, so 10 grams of your powder to 3 of your water. And since I've done this a couple times before, I kind of know the consistency that I'm looking for. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and go from there. Now, I did end up using the rest of it, and I couldn't fit it all in my cup at one time, which is why I did it two separate like this. And I'm just kind of slowly adding the water a little bit at a time because, well, this is the end of what I have. So if I use too much, that's going to be a problem. And this stuff is really forgiving. So you can go, under or over depending on your need. And because this mold has a lot of detail in it, I do want it slightly on the thinner side just to make sure that it gets into all of these grooves and cracks and crevices and all that stuff. So once it's all mixed up, now I am going to pour it into my mold and kind of pat it around a little bit. And then I'm just going to go where places that look like it's a little bit lower. Now, if you've never worked with Resincrete before or anything like it, it is not self-leveling like your resin is. So you do need to kind of bash it about a bit so that you can, you know, level it out basically and knock all those air bubbles out of it. All right, so about 40 minutes later, I am ready to demold this, and I am going super carefully. What I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of breaking the seal away from the edges of it, but I am going to demold it upside down, which is kind of the best way to go about demolding your eco pores when they are just freshly cured, because they are not 100% like solid yet. They're still very fragile, so you want to take your time and go ever so slightly and just easily with it. Now, I love it. It came out absolutely gorgeous. And I do have a little bit of overpour that you can see, but at this state, before it's fully hardened, it's super easy to clean. All you've got to do is you can pick it off, honestly, a lot of it with your fingers. Now, I did get my craft blade, and just in certain places that, my fingers are too fat to reach into, I use that to kind of get in those areas, or in between, like where the heart and the mom's head is, there's some overpour there that was a little bit thicker, so I just kind of very carefully kind of chiseled away at it until it came off. And then after I get this cleaned up, all I'm going to do is just take a nail file and very easily, not a lot of pressure at all, just kind of smooth around all of those edges where I'm breaking the overpour off, and that's it. Then we're going to set it on top of our mold, not in it, on top of it, so that the air can circulate around it. Or if you have like a cookie sheet or something like that, something where the air can get to the top and bottom, to let that water just continue to evaporate out of this for the next 24 hours so that it's solid and fully cured before we go on to any other step that you're going to go on to with this. Now, for intents and purposes of this video, this is just to show you one way. I am not finishing this. This would be a cute idea for, say, a child to do for mom, or I mean anybody really, but something that a child can do that they can paint. I mean, and this stuff, because it's not resin, so it's not chemicals like that. It's safe for younger children to use, that they could actually help make it and then paint it afterwards for mom. So I thought that was really cute. Okay, Way number two. Now, what I want to do is, because this is so detailed and there's so many pieces, I decided that dusting it with mica powder would be the way that I want to go. Now, because I don't have any kind of flesh tony colors, I went ahead with, for like the skin tone, with just, it's letter B's, I think it's cream pro cream pearl, cream white, cream something or another. I don't it essentially it's like an iridescent, or not iridescent, shit, interference gold powder, and I thought that that would be fine for this. And after I get all of the spaces that I believe are the like skin tone areas, I just clean it up with some alcohol and a Q-tip and move on to my next color. Now, I did pull the other piece just to kind of help me along with it, because a lot of it all looks like the same thing. Like, you don't know what's what. So it can get slightly confusing when you have all of these pieces. And for the hair, instead of going like a brown or yellow, I decided that like copper would be kind of cool. So just to kind of get that like glistening, healthy hair, kind of, those shampoo commercials where their hair is all shiny and gorgeous, something like that. So that's what I'm going to do for that. And then I'm going to go ahead and use some of Let's Resin's Intense Chameleon Powders for the border of this. And yeah, that's about it. But as I go through this real quick, I'm just going to put on some music for you guys, and then I will pop back on when I am ready for the next step. I will catch you on the flip side. I'm back. So it looks really, really cool already, I think. Now, I'm just cleaning out the center of the flowers because I decided I wanted just to add a little bit of yellow in there just to kind of make it a little bit different. And I love, love, love the Intense Chameleon, or yeah, the Intense Chameleon powders. Like, they are so gorgeous. So here's where there's going to be a problem. You know how everybody says, oh, once you cover something with your powders, that if you get powder on behind it, it doesn't make a difference, and typically not. But I'm going to have a problem here later on, and past me doesn't know it, otherwise, she'd have done something about it. But future me is not happy about what happens. Well, I guess it would still be past me. Past me, but future me from now. That makes sense. But I did blow out the excess powder, and we'll see it in a little bit. Now, I decided that for this, I want to go with a white background. I don't want the skin to look gray, which is what's going to happen if I go dark, and it'll kind of ruin all the other colors. Like, the intense colors, it's not gonna matter, honestly, because they're intense. So it doesn't really matter what you put behind them. You're still gonna get that vivid, gorgeous color from them. But all the other, like, normal mica powders, it will make a difference. So we're just gonna go straight white and cross our fingers and hope for the best. Now, for today's project, I am using ISTOYO's resin, and this is the Rolio Pure White Pigment Paste. And I just thought that this would be kind of perfect. I don't need mica in there, so pigment paste is kind of the way to go for this. And we're just going to kind of slowly pour it in so that the resin has time to flow into all of these details and we don't get any air bubbles or anything stupid like that. Now, because of how the mold kind of cuts out in the middle, it's kind of hard to know exactly where to pour to because there's some parts that are higher and lower than others. So hopefully I have it poured the way it's supposed to be, but we'll find out. Hitting it with the heat gun real quick, and then we're going to let this baby cure. I am going and like just certain areas with my silicone tool just to make sure that they are covered completely. And that's pretty much it, like, for this. We're just going to let this cure up and see how my colors worked out for me. God help me. Yep. I guess I'm going to hit it again with a heat gun because you know me, I just can't stop fiddling around with stuff. All right, and here we go. Okay, 24 hours later, now it's time to demold this baby and see how it looks and if the colors turned out looking okay. There's always, like, when you use your normal mica powders to color with, and depending on the background that you pick, they're going to be lighter. So I knew the inside was going to be light. But what I did not know was that my mom and child are going to turn into zombies because, well, some of it I just missed the mom's arm completely and thought that it was part of the, like, green border. And some was where the intense chameleon powder, like when I was dusting it on, I didn't clean it off because I had already covered it with the white and I didn't think it would show. It does. It does. Clearly, it does. So now I'm going to see if I can fix it and make them human again because I don't want a zombie mom and baby. I just don't. So we're going to go in with our acrylic paints and kind of just maybe hopefully cover this. Now, if you've not used acrylic paints on resin before, they are wonderful. I love painting on resin. Like, I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. But, helpful hint, if you're using light colors, especially to go over something that's dark, put a white on it first. Like, I went in with this kind of flesh tony complexion pink color, and it just doesn't want to cover it up. So it's helpful sometimes if you want the color that you're painting with to show as that color, go in with white first. It doesn't have to be like crazy solid white, but go in and then cover it up with whatever color you're looking for, and you'll get a much better turnout for the color that you're going for and a lot less coats of paint. Because if I would have just stayed with that complexion pink, I probably would have had to put like 10 coats on because that green was so dark. But I decided that since I had my paints out, I'm going to go ahead and just add some more detail onto mom and baby, or child. I guess it's not really a baby, and just kind of dress it up a little bit more, add some more stuff to it. And since, you know, I'm doing the skin already, I might as well actually give them some real facial features. So we're going to go ahead and do that. While I'm doing that, I'm just going to pop off again because, you know, I mean, I don't know what else to say about it other than what you're seeing. So yeah, I'll be back on the flip side. So for the hair, what I decided to do is I just went over it with kind of like I think it's like a raw sienna color, and then took a Q-tip and wiped off most of it just to kind of give you some definition of highlights and lowlights in the hair and make it a little bit more less metallic looking and more natural looking. And I went in and did the facial features. Now, the eyebrows and eyelashes are kind of, yeah, but it's fine. It'll be fine. And then I decided that mom needed a little something something on her shirt, so I just took my Deco Color paint pen and kind of went over like the folds of the shirt up at the top just to kind of dress it up a little bit. And I decided that while I was doing this, and since I, kind of added some more definition to mom and baby, I might as well go ahead and add some more touch ups to the actual like outer heart with the flowers themselves. So I decided that I'm gonna go with gold and silver on these flowers and just kind of hit the tips of them and a little bit down the middle and kind of like the base on these bigger ones that comes down like where I guess the flower would actually bloom from, just to give it a little bit more. Why not? And that's really it for this. Like, I do like how it turned out. I honestly think, like, part of me is maybe a little bit tiny, just the teeniest little bit glad that they turned into zombies and I had to fix them. Because if not, I probably would have just let it alone and not had gone for the facial features or anything like that. It just would have been the interference gold and that would have been it. But I do like how it turned out overall. I think it turned out really, really nice. And I'm actually pretty pleased with it. The paint did do a fairly decent job at covering up the zombiness of them, which was great. I mean, there are some areas where the paint kind of, my lines weren't the greatest and it bled into the shirts and stuff like that. And I just couldn't really get it off. Or maybe if I'd have taken more time, I could have, but I was being lazy. It happens. All in all, though, I really do like it. And I do like the white piece too. Like, honestly, with the white one, you could even, if you wanted to, maybe just take like one of your paint pens, your metallic paint pens, and kind of go around and just highlight certain things on like the heart of it. Just leave mom and baby white like they are, and maybe do the tips of the flowers in silver and gold, or one or the other, or both, whatever. And that could be a really cute, just completed piece too, just highlighting little areas as opposed to painting the whole thing would be a cool alternative to that. I mean, there's a lot that you can do with it, a lot more detail that you can get into it. You could put it on a wooden background, glue it on there, some type of a wood to actually make it even more than what it is. Like, there's a lot of possibilities for this. I really do like it. And yeah, that's it. That's a wrap on this one, guys. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I will catch you guys on Saturday in the next one. Love ya. Bye.